5, 4, 3, 2.
Yugi Bros! Speed Duel Player Survey. What is this? The Remote Duel Extravaganza is today and tomorrow, I believe, and Konami has sent out a Speed Duel survey. Interesting. Originally, I thought you had to be in the event to fill it out, but no, this is actually just for anyone. So, I filled this out. And as the questions came up, a lot of them sparked conversations that I would like to share with all of you. Some are obvious, and others are a little more complex. And if you guys know anything about my channel, I love to talk speed duels. So let's get into this 10-question questionnaire. And also, aside from the link being in the video up here in the search bar, I'll leave the link in the description for you guys to fill out if you would like to fill it out as well. This is open to all players. And so let's get into this speed survey. First thing I would like to just mention is the fact that Konami is even taking surveys on speed duels means that the future of speed duels seems very promising, because if they didn't plan on continuing it from the Battle City box, they wouldn't have put the survey up. But every question in this survey, aside from some of the obvious ones in the beginning, definitely pertains and alludes and hints to future speed duel product and a potential ban list as well. So let's get into this, shall we? Question 1 is, how familiar are you with the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG Speed Duel? I put very familiar. I feel the channel probably speaks for that best. I want to. So this is the only question that was on a separate page, and I want to believe that depending on what you click, you get sent a different selection of questions. I feel like that would make the most sense. So I put very familiar. So from this point on, the questions that are going to come up are from the very familiar section, assuming there are different sections. So just keep that in mind. Question number 2 on the next page was, how do you feel about the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG Speed Duel Battle City box? As you guys know, I love the Speed Duel Battle City box, so I put extremely positive. And then they tell you to elaborate. And boy howdy did I do that. So it says, why do you feel that way about the Speed Duel Battle City box? And my answer is a paragraph. It was the perfect way to encompass new players and returning players all the same. It has something for everyone. I feel like this was a much better design than the previous booster packs or starter decks, allowing the players to essentially get everything up front. Allowed for ultimate creativity and uniqueness to their decks, while the secret rare variant cards allowed players to foil out their deck, but also gave the foil versions value since they weren't all guaranteed. I personally think the Speed Duel Battle City box was the most amazing product I've ever purchased. I'm not joking either about that. And I 100% think this is the way to continue Speed Duel product from here on out. If you guys have seen my recent video regarding the Speed Duel Season 1 box idea that I came up with, you'll see in there that I basically echo every point that I put in this questionnaire. But I 100%, I'm serious when I say this is the best Yu-Gi-Oh! Product I've ever bought. Because, if I had to just think about Yu-Gi-Oh! Products that I like, I'm a big fan of Duel Devastator, which I know a lot of people aren't. But I like the guarantee. You get everything up front. But I think Duel Devastator didn't do it correctly. I think the Speed Duel box did it correctly. I don't like RNGing packs. I don't like gambling. I think if I'm just going to throw the money at a booster box, I would just rather buy the singles. So the fact that you throw the money at the box and get literally all the singles, and if you buy 3 boxes, you guarantee yourself a playset of all the singles, but also having this 8 of 24 secret rare option gives it actual value, so it's worth essentially buying more than 3. Like, this is Duel Devastator, but if Duel Devastator did it correctly. Like, Duel Devastator, the problem with that was you were guaranteed everything, so you'd buy 3, and then you were done. You wouldn't buy it again, unless you wanted, extra copies of staples for different decks, which you could do the same thing with the Speed Box, to have extra playsets for decks. But the secret rare option of cards that already came in the box, it's like saying Duel Devastator had everything ultra rare, but you could get 8 of the cards you get in Duel Devastator secret rare out of like 24 different ones that also, so you could have got Ash as a secret rare, in addition to the Ultra. Like, the Secret Rare Ash from that would be worth so much more because it's not guaranteed. It's 8 of 24. But, like, you know, you get your staples, and then you get a Secret Rare version of your staple instead of an Ultra. That's what the Battle City box is. Except that everything in the box is common, and then it's 8 of 24 Secret Rares. Like, it's just foil variants at that point. And in addition to all that, it's 200 cards. You can make decks out of it. Dual Devastator was staples for to be added to decks. No, the 200 cards in this, you could just play. Most decks derive from this, or staples from this that get played in past decks at this point. But anyways, let's go back to the survey here. So question 4 is, how likely are you to recommend Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG Speed Duels to a friend? I put very likely. I feel like all of you are my friends. So I've been recommending it for a while now, ever since April of 2019, I believe. And of course they asked to elaborate why or why not, so I gave a paragraph, of course, and I wrote, in my opinion, this is Yu-Gi-Oh! At its finest. It's how Yu-Gi-Oh! Originally played in its early days, so it's easy for older/returning players to get into it. It's less complex compared to the current version of advanced format Yu-Gi-Oh! And thus offers a much simpler learning curve and experience as well. This also doubles as a fantastic entry point for new players because it has fewer mechanics and a much smaller card pool to work with. In addition, having half the amount of life points, cards, and zones makes games quicker and more fun to allow for growth. But including the skill option gives players a new tactical advantage that advanced format Yu-Gi-Oh! Doesn't have. I myself work at a card shop and have taught new players Yu-Gi-Oh! By first introducing them to Speed Duels and then later on introducing them to advanced format Yu-Gi-Oh! Down the line. I realized I actually forgot to bring up the fact there's no main phase 2. I think no main phase 2 is one of the most skillful parts of Speed Duels because you have to set before your battle phase. So if you forget to do that, A, you've misplayed, but B, it makes quick play spells less powerful because if you want to have them on your opponent's turn, you have to set them beforehand and you can't flip a quick play the same turn you set it. Or you could keep it in hand if you think like holding the Offerings of the Doomed is going to be worth in this battle phase, but then let's say it wasn't, now it's stuck in your hand. So having no main phase 2 actually gives a different tactical edge to Speed Duels over regular. Like the thing with regular Yu-Gi-Oh! with having a main phase 2 is it allows you to essentially not think as hard going into the battle phase, because anything that you would want to set, you do it in the main 2. Any fixes you might do, like you play offensive in your battle phase, and then you play defensive on the main phase 2. You can't do that here. You have to play defensive or offensive before you go into your battle phase, and that can make the difference in a game. Now here's the big question. Number 6. How should powerful skill cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG Speed Duels be handled? The options are powerful skill cards should be forbidden, powerful skill cards should be revised to make them more balanced, or nothing, powerful skill cards are fine as they are now. I legitimately stared at my screen for this question for at least 10 minutes, and here's why. I seriously do not like revising cards that are tangible. I don't have a problem with it if the game is digital like Duel Links. If you're gonna revise something, that's fine. I am not a fan of errata-ing a real card because then mass confusion ensues. People have to go out and get the revised version. You will always come across a player or two that does not know there's a revised version and is playing the previous version, and that may or may not change their entire deck. But most importantly, it opens the floodgates to anything ever being changed. The perfect example here that I have is Go-Yo Guardian. This card was banned forever, but eventually came back in the TCG without an errata and was perfectly fine. Didn't really see play. It was in the game. It existed, but it didn't need the errata. And then Japan errated it to change it from a generic tuner to an Earth tuner to allow them to bring it back off of their ban list. And because they errated it, we had to follow suit. When realistically, it didn't need an errata. It wasn't doing anything. I understand their format is different than ours, but in all actuality, I'm sure it could have come back over there, and it really wouldn't have made a difference. And if it did in their format, then they go and reban it again. But I'm completely fine with cards staying banned. The only errata that I don't disagree with is something that gets changed to once per turn, or once per duel, or something like that. If you're changing something that can be used infinite times and change it to once per turn or once per duel, fine. I am okay with that, because you're not changing the effect. I hate when you change the effect of a card. Like, take Chaos Emperor Dragon, for example. Now, instead of first being only able to special summon it by banishing a light or a dark, you can only special summon it like that. It's a soft once per turn versus just you could do it more than once. That's kind of whatever. The main thing is its last sentence on the jump version, which is you cannot activate other cards or effects during the turn you activate this card's effect. Why? Why did that even... Just listen, if Chaos Emperor Dragon on the left is too good in the game, then leave it banned. Don't errata it and then make it like almost unplayable. This card was feared throughout the galaxy as one of the most powerful cards in existence. And now it's just whatever. Don't do that to it. Let it have its glory as being one of the most... Listen, the game will power creep itself to infinity eventually, and then this card will kind of be whatever. The original one, of course. Look at skills, okay? I don't think there's any skill in Speed Duels that is insane, except Inner Conflict. And I can still play through a format of it. It's just that, like, let's take Cocoon of Ultra Evolution, for example. If you banned Inner Conflict, then Cocoon goes back to being one of the best skills in the game. But I don't think it needs to be errata to fix it. Yes, I wish that you could only use one of its 2 effects per turn instead of both in the same turn. But over time, this skill will get less powerful. Because, as we've learned with every skill so far, a lot of skills in Speed Duels have just eventually been power crept out. But that's what makes them them. If you errata them, it kind of takes that away from them. Also, it opens the floodgates to anything being changed at any given time. Like, the next question on this survey is, how should weaker skill cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG Speed Duels be handled? And the options are weaker skill cards should be revised to be more playable, or nothing, weaker skill cards are fine as they are now. Like, you're just, at that point, nothing is sacred. Like, if you're gonna change the strong ones to be weaker and the weaker ones to be strong, at any given time, they could just errata anything and then, you know. And I understand, like, they're not hopefully gonna take that to heart and change everything always. And they'll only errata things that absolutely need to be changed. But I don't, man, like, I think you're opening Pandora's box if you do that. So in my opinion, you should just have a Forbidden Limited list and just go from there. Like, we don't need erratas in Speed Duels. It's like I said, it's easier for Duel Links to do it because it's digital. It gets changed automatically, you know, so you'll always have the most revised option because it'll get changed instantly for you in the game. But in real life, I think you should just stick with what you have and sink or swim from there. Now, the next one is also very interesting, and that is, how should powerful cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG Speed Duels be handled? The options are, implement a Forbidden Limited list like the advanced format. Any number of limited cards can be used. Implement a Forbidden Limited list like in Duel Links. A maximum number of limited cards can be used. Or C, do nothing. Things are fine without implementing a Forbidden Limited list. I think we should definitely have a Forbidden Limited list. And here's why I chose the advanced format one. Like I said before, you want to avoid as much confusion as possible. And I feel like sticking with the current advanced format ban list setup is the way to go. Simply so any player playing one or the other can toggle between advanced and speed, and they don't have to follow a different set of ban list rules, so to speak, for each specific format. Like, you can just explain, oh, in advanced we have this thing, we're limited, you can only play 1, semi you can only play 2, banned you can't play at all, and unlimited is 3, you're good to go. Same thing goes for Speed Duels. Here's the list for Speed Duels. Boom, easy, already finished. Versus if you had to then explain Speed Duels, has it like Duel Links, and Duel Links has it like this, it's a little bit more complicated. The way Duel Links does it, for the people that don't know, is it's called a it's a limited, semi-limited, and technically limited to 3 section, and I'll explain it in a second. Shout out to duellinksmeta.com real quick for this for these snapshots. But basically, banned is the same. Alright, you can't include any of these in the deck. Self-explanatory. Limited to 1 is, as it says here, when cards are labeled as limited 1, you may only include 1 card in your deck from the list of limited cards. So, you know, here's your list. Example is, since Azure Eyes, Silver Dragon, and Bamboo Scrap are limited to 1, you can only include 1 of those cards in your deck, not 1 of each. So you only get 1 of this list of 18 cards in your deck. Let's say you're playing Melody. Alright, those other 17 cards you can't play. I don't hate this, but I don't love this because it limits play depending on what you're playing. And it also, again, makes it more confusing for newer players or, you know, returning players that know what a Forbidden Limited list is but don't know how this one works. And I think this is the easiest thing to explain, this and banned. It gets a little bit more complicated with Limit 2 and 3, and let me explain it. So Limit 2 is when cards are labeled as Limit 2, you may include no more than 2 cards in your deck from all of the Limit 2 cards. Example, Amazonic Swordswoman A, we'll use that as an A, and Assault Blackwing, whatever the heck, we'll use as B, are both Limit 2. You can only have any of the following combinations of these cards in your deck. AA, AB, BB, AB, or none. The combination AAA or AABB or AAB are all forbidden. That's easy when you're playing an automated service that allows you to not screw it up, basically. And I've never had experience playing Duel Links, but I can only imagine it's either you try to do it and it forbids you from doing it because it knows you're trying to break the code here, even if you forgot, or it simply says you can't submit X deck list, blah blah blah. Like I said, guys, I haven't played Duel Links personally, so I can't talk on this part. All I know is on an automated service like that, they have precautions in place so that you don't screw up accidentally and play, you know, any combination like it says there that you're not supposed to. And doing this in real life is going to confuse a lot of players. There are players that will get this no problem, but there are also players that won't, and you don't want confusion in your game. You want the least amount of confusion as possible. So this is why I say we should just stick to the regular Forbidden Limited list. This also doesn't get easier, because for Limit 3, when they're labeled Limit 3, you may include no more than 3 cards in your deck from all of the Limit 3 cards. Example, Alistair the Invoker A and Amazoness Onslaught B are both Limit 3. You can have any of the following combinations of these in your deck. 3 A's, A and 2 B's, 2 A's and a B, 3 B's, 2 A's, A, B, 2 B's, A, or B, or none. The combination of triple A and a B, double A and a double B, and an A and 3 B's are all forbidden. This is going to get out of hand real quick. There's going to be a lot of players that are going to forget this or mix it up. This is a lot of things you then have to now remember, and you can't see the little number over it on like you can on Duel Links, which just reminds you, hey, this is Limit 3, this is Limit 2, this is Limit 1. You won't get that. You'll have to literally go off of memory or keep toggling back to a list somewhere where you'll have to remember that. And that is too much work. And that's too confusing for a regular player to keep track of. Therefore, we should stick with the regular Forbidden Limited list. Limited cards are at 1. You can only play 1 of each limited card in your deck. Semi-limited is 2. You can only play a max of 2 of each of those cards in your deck. Unlimited is 3, obviously, and banned you cannot play. Simple, easy, effective, bam. Question 9. What sort of tournament prize support would you like to see for Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG Speed Duels going forward for both entry and top duelists? Select all that apply. The options they give you are medals, dice, tournament packs, card cases, prize cards, game mats, and other. Please specify. These are what I put down. I didn't check card cases, I assume that's sleeves, dice, or medals, because when it comes to the other 3 options they give you, I would much prefer those, and if I check all 6, I feel like they'll prioritize some incorrectly. I literally want the 3 I checked to be prioritized. Well, I guess the 4, if you count my answer. I 100% want tournament packs to come back. I really wish Ultras were ultis instead, and I actually didn't write that in my description. I kind of wish I did. I forgot about that. Because Ultra Rare doesn't really do a high rarity, hard to get card justice, in my opinion. Like, guys, what if you got Ultimate Rare Jinzo in the next tournament pack? Oh my god, everyone would want that. GOAT players, old school format players, new school format players. Like, it's Jinzo as an ulti. Another card I'd advocate as an ulti is a card that I still consider the best card in Speed Duels. Breaker the Magical Warrior as an ulti. That would be sick. But ultis aside, the cool part about pulling something like that special should be an ulti or a ghost, but I don't expect ghost rares in tournament packs, so let's take ultis back, you know? Now, game mats, 100% for this. We need more rubber Speed Duel mats in this game in general. And not just ones I can win through a remote duel. I want these things in person. And I don't see them not doing that. They do it for everything else. So, you know, play mats in general, always 100% for that. Prize cards. Now, what do they mean, right? Like, do they mean, like, depending on what the prize card is for, you know, regular advanced format, you would also be able to get that in a speed side event? That seems kind of insane. I mean, it would be more than a 16-player flight, obviously. I need elaboration on what prize cards, what they mean by that. Would it just be an alternative alter art of something in Speed Duels? Would it be a different foil rarity of a card in Speed Duels? Like I said, I need clarification. But that one kind of rolls into what my other is, and that is, I want to see invites in Speed Duels. I'm sick of this side event thing. Don't get me wrong, I love the side events, I love Speed Duels, I want it to keep going. But I want invites for Speed Duel regionals. Having a Speed Duel format as another option is great on its own, but both giving us and supporting regional events that could be held as a side event at any regional or YCS would be a fantastic addition in my opinion. I think Speed Duels as a whole can become something much bigger than it's already becoming, and I would love to have the chance at getting a Speed Duel invite from a Speed Duel regional event so that I can then enter a Speed Duel World Championship qualifier. Like, could you guys imagine that? And they could totally do this. They could totally pull this off. At regular regionals, you have Speed Duel regional as a side event. And I mean, I don't know how many players you make it. You may not have a cap. You may, you just see what you get with that. But, or YCS side event, Speed Duel regional. And top whatever gets invites. And then you have your invite to a World Championship qualifier for Speed Duels. I mean, Duel Links has that. Why can't Speed, right? And then number 10, which was, what recommendations would you make to help improve Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG Speed Duels in the future? Select all that apply. The options they gave are starter/structure decks, booster packs, Battle City Box style sets, skill card rebalancing, Forbidden and Limited list, more organized play events, Speed Duel card database, and other. I did not select starter structure deck because I clicked Battle City Box because, as I've said in previous videos, that is definitely the way to go. That's also the reason I didn't choose booster packs. I felt like booster packs were the worst way to go. I did not click skill card rebalancing because I selected the Forbidden and Limited list option, simply because, for reasons I've just stated, I think that is the better way to go about. More organized play events, of course, who wouldn't want more of those? Speed Duel card database, I mean, the option was there, so of course, why not? And then for other, I wrote the following: 2 or 3 Battle City style box sets a year. 1 every 4 months preferably, but if it were 2 a year, then maybe something like a mini tin type of product that would fall in between the boxes to help players get reprints of cards that have either jumped in price and or reprinted foil versions of cards that previously did not come foil. And honestly, with that, I feel like we're good. If we got 2 to 3 Battle City boxes, and then if it was the lesser, maybe like a tin of reprints and some foil cards we didn't previously get, I think we'd be set. Like, we don't need infinite products a year like current regular Yu-Gi-Oh! Has. But we definitely need more than 1 Battle City box, which is what we've been riding on since December of last year. you give us 200 card sets every, 4 months, I think we're good. I think we're good forever. And then you include the tournament stuff that I previously mentioned, and a ban list, or an update to the ban list every few months, kind of like how regular Yu-Gi-Oh has it, and Speed Duel regionals and World Championship qualifiers and side events, and continue more organized play for regular events. Guys, this is the beginning of a new arc for Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! Hasn't done this before. They haven't had another format. Don't say traditional. No one plays traditional. We have only ever ridden the advanced format. And this is the next new format. And this is very promising. And it's super promising to see Konami actually acknowledge it enough to not only say they're going to continue essentially with this survey, but ask for the player's opinion. This is really good. This is good for Speed, this is good for Yu-Gi-Oh!, this is good for Konami, this is good for the player base, because there's interaction now. And I for one, am super excited to see where Konami goes from here with this survey that they posted. Guys, comment, like, and subscribe. As always, my name is Yugi Bros, and I am so excited to see what's next.